All right, I think we are live and going. Drop a comment if you are here. This way I kind of know people are here. All right, that's a nice day out, so not expecting as much attendance on here. Just give me a few seconds. We'll get going in a minute. All right, so we'll get started. So you probably already know me. I'm Dave from Joint Effort. I'm in the Guilford location. I talked a few weeks ago kind of about other systems we could be training that would kind of help our balance and other ways we could be working on improving our human function outside of just working with dumbbells. All right, so today I kind of want to talk about an approach to this neurological training in a way that we can implement that into our home exercise, our gym routine, or unfortunately, because we're home, just into your daily living. So these are things that you could not really change up your lifestyle too much, but still kind of work on some of these neurological factors. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first I wanted to say that working on your vestibular system can contribute to vertigo symptoms, dizziness, nausea, loss of balance. So this short presentation is going to go over just a few recommendations as far as how we can work on our vestibular system. But if you feel any dizziness, any of these aforementioned symptoms, please stop. Stop right away. I don't want anybody getting sick. I don't want anybody getting dizzy or nauseous at home. All right, you may need a more detailed evaluation. All right, so just feel free to drop a comment on the video. Shoot me an email at david@jointeffortexercise.com. All right, and again, if you feel dizzy, nauseous during some of these exercises, stop. Maybe that means we need to do them a little bit slower, a little bit easier, or we need to just totally kind of degress the exercise as well. All right, I think I'm going to shift over to this side. Good. All right, guys. So let's get on with this. First thing we're going to talk about, and I played with all the TV settings. I'm sorry if this is really hard to see. All right, so neurology versus strength training. All right, so there's going to be a little bit of a difference with this. I kind of made a comparison that your neurology is like doing electrical work around your house, whereas strength training is like doing structural work. All right, the difference with that is you can do structural work that may seem like it's very sturdy, but tomorrow your building may collapse. All right, so structural work can seem kind of fake. You may look like you're very sturdy, you may not be. All right, that's not going to be the case with neurological work or what I call electrical work. All right, so if you've ever played with electricity before, if you get it right, you hook things up correctly, that light bulb turns right on instantly. Right, if you don't hook it up correctly, you may get sparks or it's not going to work at all. So you're going to get that instant gratification as to what we're working on is helping you or not, or if it was effective or not. Let's see who we got here. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Ray. Hey, Deb. We got another Sandy. So hello to everybody. I'll try to keep up with that. Thanks for joining in. I know it's beautiful out. So again, guys, just to kind of go over this, if you're doing stuff with electrical work, which is what I consider kind of our nerves or our neurology, you're going to know right away if it had a good effect on you. All right. Same way with that light bulb turning right on. You're going to know right away if you hook things up correctly and the light bulb's on, and you're not. If not, for the structural work, strength training can sometimes lead to discomfort later on in the day, tomorrow, a few days later. That's not really going to be the case with some of this neurological work. So that's why in the previous slide I mentioned if you feel dizzy, which these things can happen right away, please just stop what you're doing. All right, we'll go much slower. We'll change what you're doing. Just contact me quick. All right, guys. So like I said, these can be done at home, but if you were doing them in the gym, things that your trainers or the professionals would be looking for, the first one is eye deviations. All right, so what I mean by that is our eyes are meant to move very smooth, in our eye sockets, sometimes we have trouble inputting this information, so our eyes can kind of deviate and kind of shudder a little bit. All right, I have a member in Guildford, when doing one of my eye exercises, she could feel that her eye was kind of dancing in her eye socket on one side. She didn't feel it on both, but she could feel that her vision was a little blurry and her eye was physically moving. And we were able to take that away with some of the exercises. So that was a symptom of her eyes not tracking very well. All right. Another thing a trainer would be looking for is a change in speed. We're going to notice how comfortable you are doing some of these exercises. You'll start to do 15, 20 of them much quicker than you did when we first started. All right. So that would be a way to track progress or not progress. All right. We're also going to go with dizziness. All right. Loss of balance and blurred vision. So these are things that we're going to be trying to combat. All right. So hopefully these are symptoms that start to decrease as we start to get you guys on a program that's fit for your kind of neurological needs. All right, guys, so let's move on. So why are all these things so important? I know over the past couple decades, strength training has always been stressed so much, but these are really the systems that are responsible for your balance. So again, guys, I know this is really hard to see. I tried to make this as clear, but the words aren't going to be as clear. I made it as clear as I could for the videos that are coming forward. So I'll read everything off the slide. So the systems we're going to be working on are the systems responsible for your balance. Okay, it has a lot more to do than just your muscular system. All right, we need good input. I kind of make the analogy that this is like having sloppy handwriting. All right, if I took notes and wrote sloppy handwriting, when I go to review my notes for the test, I'm going to have a really tough time figuring out what I tried to write down. All right, that's an analogy of your eyes not being able to see very well of what's in front of you. All right, if I have very neat vision or neat handwriting in 20/20 vision, I'm going to be able to see all those notes I wrote down very clearly versus somebody who has bad vision, who really can't see what's going on right in front of them very clearly. All right, so good vision is better accuracy. All right, the better I can see that ball coming in front of me, the better chances I have of catching it, or catching my granddaughter when she's kind of tumbling, walking around on the ground, things like that. All right, and then also balance. I talked about this in my last presentation, is just a coordination of optimal movement. So in some of these exercises, we're going to go over kind of a more optimal way to do them, which you probably have seen in joint effort before, but I just wanted to reiterate it while we're kind of at home. All right, so with the visual system, things we're going to focus on. We want to be able to focus clearly on things in front of you. All right, this is called convergence. All right, we also want to be able to focus on things that are moving. All right, and focus clearly on things as you move. So 3 different factors we're going to work on. We're going to work on 4 different directions. So with this one, focus clearly on things that are moving. They're going to be moving in 4 different directions. This one here, focus clearly on things as we move. We're going to move our body in 4 different directions. All right, so we're going to go with these. We're going to try these out. Again, start very slow with all the videos that I show you in today's presentation. Start extremely slow. Give yourself some time. And as you get more comfortable doing them, you can start to go a little bit quicker, all right? All right, so I'm going to show you the first video. Again, sorry about the quality, but this is just a video of your eyes converging. All right, that's just your eyes starting to track and look at something right in front of you. So what I want you to do, guys, is take a look at this. This one I show you through 2 point of views. All right, so you'll see it right in front of me and from the side. All right, guys, take a peek. Hey, guys. So Dave from Joint Effort. I'm going to go over about eye convergence today. All right, so that is your eyes tracking in towards each other, being able to see things kind of right in front of you. So what I have is an object here. I've just got a black pen. All right, the bigger the object, the easier to see it is, the better results you'll have, especially if you do have glasses or eye issues or vestibular issues. All right, so let's be careful doing some of these. These are meant to kind of be done with someone around you to assess the actual movement of your eye, which we talked about, which I will try to make these videos apparent so you can see kind of what happens with mine. But let's get into this. I want to start with just eye convergence first. All right, so my eyes are going to start separate and start to track in towards each other. This should happen very symmetrical, very smoothly. All right, just so you guys kind of know what you're looking for. So I've got my pen here. All right, this is going to be kind of modified so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm doing this exercise seated. I have my object straight out in front of me. All right, so it's about eye height. I'm just slowly bringing this object in towards my nose. All right, right about here, it starts to get kind of blurry and double vision for me. So this is where I would stop during the exercise. I'd keep practicing getting to that point, and I would do the next 2 exercises using that spot right there where it got dizzy for me. All right, but for some of you guys, you may be able to track this pen in much, much closer. All right, and right around wherever it gets dizzy. So if it gets dizzy right here, you would back it up a bit, and that's where you're going to do some of these eye movements. All right, for your next video. All right, so I'm focusing on the tip of the pen, and I'm going to track the tip of the pen nice and slow all the way in towards my nose. All right, you would want to stop when you start to see blurry or doubles of things. That's when this is becoming effective. So I'll stop right around there. I close my eyes. I bring my eyes back to the beginning of the exercise. Again, so on the way in, you want to stop the minute the pen starts to get fuzzy, starts to see doubles. That's the point in your systems that aren't agreeing with each other. For testing purposes, just to show you guys, I'm going all the way in, but in fact, it is double vision for me as it starts to get close, and maybe we'll be able to see that with what my eyes are doing. So let's go over this one more time, guys. I've got my pen. I'm going to focus right on the tip of my pen. It's out about arm's length in front of me. All right, I'm focusing right on the tip of the pen, and I'm tracking the tip of the pen and nice and slow right towards my nose. All right, my eyes should be coming together, converging, nice and slow and smooth. When it gets to your nose, close your eyes. That's the end of the test. All right, guys, so I'm sorry that was so tough to see. All right, what I wanted everybody to really have a good view of, and it worked, unfortunately, until we start to video this, but my eyes start to track together as I'm looking for that green pen coming right in towards me. All right, so I tried to give you guys 2 point of views. This is very important, all right? Things are always moving around us. We need our eyes to be able to do these things very smooth. All right, so what I want to do is go through the next one. All right, remember I mentioned right where that point where as you're starting to look at something and it gets blurry, that point here is where you're going to do the next few exercises. So that distance where it was a little blurry for you, that's where you're going to do this one and the following. All right, guys, so we're going to do the opposite in this video. We're going to work on head or body movement while this time our eyes stay fixated on an object. So we're going to start this off the same way we did before. An object we're going to concentrate on about arm's distance away. All right, slowly bring that object in until you can no longer see it clearly. All right, you want to back up. You want to put it in the left spot you were able to see it clearly. All right, this time what we're going to do is we're going to move our head all the way to the left, keeping our eyes fixated straight on the pen. Good, very slow. Come back in, move our head all the way to the right, keeping our eyes fixated on the pen. Come back in, good. We want to move our head all the way down, keeping our eyes on the pen. Nice, I know this looks funny this time, guys. All the way up, keeping your eyes on the pen. Good, all right? Hopefully you were able to do all of those while seeing very clearly. All right, guys. So that one was being able to move your head and keep your eyes fixated. All right, guys. So like I mentioned before, so speed is something we'd be looking at as far as progression, how far you can move in either direction. That's what we'd be looking for. Right? Your eyes can be trained just like your muscles. So now I want to show you one more. And if you suffer from vertigo or positional vertigo, that video I just showed you and the one coming next, these ones I really want you to go slow if you're trying these at home. All right, so we'll do this one, guys. All right, guys, so now let's go over some eye movement. All right, so we started off with the convergence exercise, which with my pen about arm's distance away, I brought it in nice and slow until I started to see doubles. All right, so you want to back off that spot and be as close as you can with your object while still being able to see it clearly. Right, and that's where we'll start with this exercise. So for me, boom, I can see it clearly right here. All right, now what I want to do is I'm not going to move my head at all, guys. I want to just move my eyes. All right, guys, so you can see here my head is staying fixated. It's tough for you to see, but my eyes are tracking towards the pen. All right, an issue here would be if your head moves and you can't keep it still with just your eyes moving. Good. I don't know if you guys can see this, but when I went left, you could see I moved my head a little bit, and a little bit as well right there. Good. I'm going down here. All right, so I tried to make that one clear because for me, that one's pretty clear that when I moved that pen left, I had an issue. I moved my head a little bit. Secondly, when I even got about here, I moved my head a little bit. So I have a little bit of issues with my visual and vestibular system as well. You don't need to be injured or wear glasses for this. This happens to anybody. All right, so I just want to stress, guys, if you suffer from any kind of vertigo symptoms, dizziness, nausea, especially if you move too quickly or if you've had whiplash, do these last two videos very slowly. Make sure you do them seated. So I should have mentioned that at the beginning. We're going to do all these visual exercise seated. I'll pop that in the comments too, guys. All right, it'll be a little more comfortable on your vestibular system to do seated. All right, so I want to move on, guys. I hope those were pretty clear. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I will try to answer everything after. Thanks for popping in, everybody. I appreciate it. It's a beautiful day, so I'm sure it's not the best sitting inside, but let's move on here. All right, so next, when I talked about kind of our vestibular system, we also need to rely on the little sensors that are built inside of us, right? And that's called our somatosensory system. Very easily put, there's just little joint receptors in our joints and our muscles that sense speed, they sense direction, right? I talked about all that in my last presentation about the other systems, so I don't want to dive too much into that. But what I'm going to show you today is some mobility work. All right, my coworker Brittany is going to be going through some mobility exercises as well in a few weeks with a video and presentation. So I just popped a few in here. All right, but we're going to be working on some mobility work that's going to stimulate those sensors that are outside of your everyday living. All right, so what I mean by that is, maybe you don't have any steps in your house, so your ankle doesn't dorsiflex much or plantar flex. All right, so, or if it does, you only do this much in your everyday life. But when you stretch your ankle, you can go that far. All right, so we don't want to be able to lose that ability to move your foot that much, which means you need to stimulate it. So I'm going to show you a few exercises for your wrist and your ankle, which have a ton of neurology in them. So you'll get the best kind of bang for your buck as far as time putting in this. That will take you through some of these stimulating sensors to keep everything working very well. All right, the next part of what I call our somatosensory system is going to be using our non-dominant side for functions. So what I mean by that is you have two sides of the body, just like you have two sides of the brain. All right, the only reason I grew up right-handed is because I was good at things right-handed when I was little, and I just kept practicing them. Had I practiced with my left, I'd be a little more ambidextrous today than I am now. All right, we just practice these things. That's when they become more functional. All right, so this is going to be very situational, what you do on your non-dominant side. Obviously, there's a reason. Maybe pain is in one of your knees, so you rely on the other one, things like that. All right, I wrote Tai Chi down here because that is really one of the things that over the past 100 years, they've always said it is extremely good for you. And if you've ever done a Tai Chi class, everything they make you do on the right side, they go and make you do on the left side. All right, so it's very stimulating on both sides. And the last part I wrote down here is leave your comfort zone. Hey, Corey Hunter. Sorry, guys. All right, so leaving your comfort zone. All right, guys, I want you to do this safely. What I mean by that is, if you only go walking for a mile, I don't want you to go running for a marathon tomorrow. All right, but I do want you to challenge yourself a little bit. So I wrote down here, I want you to leave your comfort zone safely. All right, try to do things a little differently. You're going to yield a big response out of a tiny change, especially if you've been doing things in that pattern for so long. Right, and last but not least, we can't stress this enough, take your shoes off. All right, especially if you've kind of been wearing, one shoe for so long. Especially for you women out there, go put on one of those shoes you used to wear a couple of years ago. And how weird does that feel in your foot sometimes? Again, that's because you practiced in this shoe for so long, your foot forgot what it felt like to be in any other position. Right, and we want to not kind of hide some of our sensors. We want to stimulate all of our sensors to keep our joints working well and our bodies functional. All right. So let's move on. So I'm going to go into some mobility exercises for two joints. We're going to go over our ankle and our wrist. All right, guys? All right, guys, so I'm going to show you some ankle mobility drills or exercises. All right, we're going to go through a couple variations. What I want you to keep in mind is we're going to start off doing these very slow. Okay, we'll progress speed as a factor later. All right, I want big motions. Okay, so when we're moving our ankle or our feet, I want you to be moving your ankle or your foot as much as you can, as large of a movement as you can, and then we'll worry about speed, okay? So let me show you these three drills. This is the one part of the video where I said I made this video blurry so that you guys don't have to stare at my feet for too long. I'm sorry about this glare though. All right, but you can see I'm going in what I call a windshield wiper, just going left and right. All right. Good, and for the third one, I'm going in a full circle now. All right, so for this one, I'm going clockwise. All right, and I believe I also take this video in counterclockwise. All right, if I don't, guys, I want you, perfect. I want you guys going in both directions. All right, so there were three different ankle exercises. I'll skip to the beginning one because I realized I didn't explain that. Perfect, the beginning one was just up and down, guys. So I wanted you to come with your toes too. Toes down, toes up, foot up. All right? So get those ankles moving, all right? Especially if you have painful knees or painful hips. An ankle that moves well means your knee and your hip doesn't have to move as much. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so here are our wrist mobility exercises. All right, I went through three, guys.
The first mobility exercise I want to go over with you guys is just a closed fist wrist circle. All right, so my arms out straight about shoulder height. I close my fist, starting very slow, very shallow in a circle. All right, the goal with this is to open up that wrist as big as you can so I get a nice stretch throughout my forearm in almost all the directions. All right, especially as I pull it down, I feel a nice stretch down here. And as I pull it up, again, the same thing. You can start to go quicker as you get better with this, but don't let the speed compromise how big that circle is, okay? Let's go counterclockwise as well. All right, relax your fist. It is closed. It doesn't need to be.
All right, guys, I want to pause that. I just want to stress that. I told you guys I want you to start slow with these circles. All right, I would love it if you guys start to speed them up, but your circles shouldn't get smaller, all right? The most important is the range of motion you're going through, and that has to stay the same while you try to increase your speed, okay? So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that quick, and I'll let this play.
At the computer, do this in front of you. You can do this above you, all right? And you can even do this down low. These will all serve a little bit different of a purpose. Again, we did closed fist, circles. Start slow, increase your speed as you feel comfortable. Don't let the increase in speed affect how big that circle is. And so before we did these closed fists, this time we're going to do with my fingers stretched out.
So we're going to do it this way this time, guys.
Start very slow, start small. All right, and then notice, look, I even have the tendency to kind of scrunch my fingers up. Try to keep everything open during this. All right, go counterclockwise, go clockwise, go different speeds. Don't let the different speeds compromise the distance your wrist is traveling in both directions. Good, guys. Give that a shot, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys, so those were three different wrist mobility exercises. Again, start slow. Most important part is how much you move, and then go into how quick you do this. All right, that's a part that's going to show me you're getting better at these. All right, let's move on. So I think this one was a little bit longer, so our last one's right on here.
All right, guys, so the last wrist mobility exercise I'm going to walk you guys through today is just a finger leading open and close exercise. All right, so my arms are straight out in front. I'm going to start closing my fist with one finger at a time. Good. Once each finger is down, I'm going to close my fist down as much as I can. I feel a nice stretch in through here. Now I want to open them back up one finger at a time as much as I can. And now stretch all the way back up. Good, so again, I'm going to close it. This time I'm going to do it with my pinky first.
Each finger as much as you can, guys.
Good. I get a nice stretch right here, and now I'm going to open it back up. Each finger as much as I can before I open the whole hand. Good, I did both my index finger and my pinky finger first. Next, I want you guys to start this with your palm up. So I'm going to close this with my pinky first. Close the whole fist. Good, now let's open it back up with the pinky. Open the whole fist. Good, let's do it with the index finger. Good. All right, guys, finger leading, open and close. All right, do this with some integrity, guys. I want nice, concise movements of the fingers. Don't just floppily throw them around back and forth. That's not what we're looking for, all right? Thank you.
All right, again, guys, I can't stress that last part enough, especially the one with the fingers. I want you to really stretch each finger down as much as you can before you jump to the whole hand and switch. All right, move through all of these with integrity. They're meant to kind of trick your brain a little bit. All right, that's where the neurology is coming into play. All right, so I talked a little bit before about, using your non-dominant side or non-dominant functions. Well, I know how odd that's going to feel, so I've been trying these all week. I even had George try a couple of them. All right, so I came up with a little list for you guys. So try using your non-dominant hand for someone. All right, it means so much more on a neurological level that you can use your left and right hand to do the same things. It's extremely good for your brain, for your nervous system. All right, so try brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. All right, so I brush my teeth with my right hand. It is going to feel really weird when I brush my teeth with my left. Not only that, it's going to feel really weird when I apply the toothpaste backwards. All right, try these things. They only feel weird because I'm not really good at them, but that's an easy task. I should have no problem doing it. All right, even using silverware, maybe not if you're out on a date, but go ahead and put the knife in one hand and the fork in the other and switch. All right, we all know which hand is more comfortable doing what, but why can't it do the other? Right, if you're at home using your computer, right, use your computer mouse with the opposite hand. I want you to try to use that. And for all you knitters at home, this one's going to be very challenging, right? Try knitting with the other hand. I know that's probably the way you're the best at it, but why can't you do it the other way? Right? It's good for you to challenge yourself this way. And then, right, we also have a dominant leg, all right? Whether you're right-handed or left-handed, doesn't matter. We all have a leg we rely on a little bit more. All right, if you tuned into my balance class, I kind of asked people which leg felt more comfortable doing things on and which what didn't. That was to give you guys a little insight on what your dominant leg or dominant foot is. So what I want you guys to do is notice which leg you go up and down the stairs with. All right, I lead going up and down the stairs both with my right leg. Occasionally, I try to use my left. All right, I try to switch it up. When you do garden work, what hand do you pull the weeds out with? What hand do you dig with the shovel? Why can't you switch? Pull the weeds out with your non-dominant hand. Put the shovel in with the non-dominant hand to dig the little holes. Right? And stationary work. I know these are tough to see. This last one is non-dominant leg stationary work. So right now I'm standing up giving this presentation. I'm leaning mostly on my left leg right now. Right? So when you're cooking or doing stuff by your desk, your office, you probably are just going to lean on one leg. Switch. Go from lean on your left leg to your right leg. Right? You need to be able to use both of those. All right? Your brain is going to pick the one you're best at, but it's up to you to kind of even that out. All right. So, leaving your comfort zone. I wrote this in before, guys. I want you to do this safely. All right? There's a reason why you've kind of chosen your right leg or your right arm to do some of these tasks. So don't just think that right away you can go and use the other leg to do everything. There might be some orthopedic issues there or structural issues. All right? So take that into play. But I want you to change up your daily routine. All right, so what that means is do things differently. If you do laundry first, maybe do it last. All right, guys, if you go down the stairs and you typically are doing all the laundry with your right hand, use your left. All right, this one's for Britt. I want you guys to do your activities shoeless. All right, there are so many more sensors on the bottom of your feet than there are anywhere else. The more you use them, the less everything else works. All right, use those sensors. We've been jamming our foot into footwear for work, for sports, for leisure. We've all been told you have to wear shoes when you go into a store. Well, take them off when you get out because you get a lot of benefit out of that. All right. I wrote try different paces. All right. So what that means is, do things to music, to a cadence. We've all kind of heard that studying is good to classical music. And maybe when I need to do things fast, I put on a fast paced song. There's a reason for that. All right. Your brain likes these little rhythms and can give you more things to use when you kind of access these systems. All right. So I'm going to go over later in this presentation of a different way to change the pace during some of our exercises. Getting out of your comfort zone. Try going hiking. All right. We all know walking is a lot easier, flat ground, no hikes. It's nice and paved. But there's a reason why when we were kids, we liked to go hiking. It's a lot more stimulating. There's a lot more activity involved in it. Even if you cut your time down and go hiking for a fraction out of walking, you haven't trained for hiking. You're going to get more out of that, right? We're all really good walkers. Let's practice something else. Make our feet and our knees and our hips do something else if you can tolerate it. All right, guys, I don't want you causing any more discomfort if you have to. All right, but being in a different environment is going to cause a different demand. Your feet are going to get stronger. And then there's this one, do your routines backwards. So if you're a member of Joint Effort, you've got your pep sheet with, the first 7 exercises. Start at 7 and go to 1. One's going to feel a heck of a lot harder doing it last. I want you guys to kind of get out of these patterns. All right. We mentioned before using your non-dominant hand. All right. And I also mentioned using a wide variety of range of motion. All right. So that's those mobility exercises. The more we move our little joints, the better. The more exposure to all these different environments like hiking, the better. All right. This is all about exposure. We kind of, as we get older, we expose ourselves less and we don't need to and could really benefit from not. All right. So now we're kind of going to get over the last system. So we went over our visual system, we went over our somatosensory system. Now we're going to go over our our vestibular system. All right. So for this one, I spoke about this before. We're going to move at different speeds. All right. Moving at different speeds is going to cause us to challenge our balance. Right. We're going to be really asking our sensory input to be on point with some of this because we're going to be moving much quicker or slower than we're used to. Right. And we're going to challenge our positions. All right. We're going to stick to exercises we've already done like lunges and med ball chops. That's what I'm going to kind of get into later. But I'm going to show you different ways that we can adapt these to train these 3 systems while you're at home. Right? We've been doing these in the gym without you guys knowing, but you can do these at home too. So for those of you without any equipment, with just a room and some space, this is what I want you guys to focus on. All right. Also, so I didn't put this one in here, but this is why Tai Chi is awesome. Tai Chi is killer for this. All right, Zumba is killer for this. I think I wrote that in there later. They get you guys moving. In a Tai Chi class, they make you do things with your hands and feet you don't do every day. All right, and Tai Chi has always had good reviews. I can't stress that enough for you guys. All right, so what I'm going to do is I took an exercise that most of us, or probably all of us, have done before in the gym. So we've all done a lunge or a reverse lunge. So I'm going to show you different variations of it, all right? The way we can hit these 3 different sensory systems in different ways and kind of combine them all at once, all right? The more you stimulate these senses, the better your results are going to be. All right, so I call this a vestibular lunge variation. I'm going to take your traditional lunge that you've probably seen in the classes or the pep sheets, and I'm going to show you vestibular variations for this, all right? So I'm going to show you your traditional lunge. That's going to be first. Second, I'm going to show you a lunge where we change your point of view, all right? Third, I'll show you a lunge where we change the pace in which you do the lunge. Fourth, I'm going to show you a lunge where we limit your sensory input. So I'm going to close my eyes while I do this exercise so I can rely more on my vestibular system and all those little sensors in my feet because I no longer can see if I'm falling or losing my balance. All right, and last but not least, when you tie everything together, it allows you to increase, decrease, change directions of momentum. All right, that's what this is all about. When you go walking and hiking, you're really just limiting the amount of momentum you allow yourself to build up. This way you don't have to control it. So I'm going to get into just our traditional lunge first, guys. So you've probably seen this before, but I wanted to go over it so I can set the tone for the rest of our exercises.
So I'm going to show you just a basic version of our step back lunge, which we're going to modify in different ways to kind of train the things we've been talking about. So again, I'm just going to step back with my right leg. I'm bending my front knee. Right, you want to make sure your front foot stays flat on the ground doing this. And again, this is just a step back lunge. right? Alternating right to left. So I'm going to show you just a basic version of our step back lunge, which we're going to modify.
All right, wanted to make sure that played the whole thing. So that was just our lunge. We've done that before, guys. I want to show you now how we're going to change that. All right. So this is a vestibular lunge. I'm going to challenge my vestibular system a little bit. All right. By this, I'm going to challenge my point of view. So what I mean by that is, in the beginning of my slideshow, we went over different head movements and then just eye movements where I looked up, looked down, looked left, and looked right. All right, now let's add those into something we've already been doing. All right, so take a peek at this, guys.
So for this variation of the lunge, we're going to change our point of view. All right, so what that means is what you're looking at plays a huge role in how well you balance as well. So I'm going to do the same exercise, a step back lunge again. Some I'm going to do looking down, some I'm going to do looking up. I'll do one looking left and one looking right. I will kid you not with these with my balance, so you can see the difference in how challenging this can be. I'm going to do mine with my arms across my chest. I want you guys to keep your arms by your side. So looking down. Good. So not too bad. Looking straight up. Good. Looking left. Good. Let's go looking right. Good. Changing our point of view, guys. We can also look at something straight ahead while our head moves, but my eyes still fixate on what's straight in front of me. All right, so you can see I'm rotating my head with my torso, but I'm still looking at the computer screen right in front of me. Another version, guys, is now we can rotate our head and our eyes. So now my eyes are following with my head. So that unlike in the beginning where I was looking at something fixed, now my eyes are traveling during the exercise. You can see how that threw me off my balance a little bit. All right, so try that.
All right, so those were just a couple different ways to go over a lunge. All right, guys, I kept my arms across my chest this way. If I lost my balance, you'd have a better chance of seeing that. I want you guys to keep your arms by your side, out to the side. All right. Bonus points for anybody watching this. You can email me at david@jointeffortexercise.com. During these videos, the lunges and the eye exercises in the beginning, tell me which ones I didn't do so well on. All right, I lost my balance a little bit here. I want you guys to kind of see if you can notice that. But let's move on. All right, so I'll show you another variation of a lunge. All right, here I'm going to change my pace. So this would be doing it to music. All right, I know everybody who does our classes, music is a huge role as to whether I'm going quicker or slower. It has a lot of benefits.
You guys how to change your pace during the exercise. All right, so I'm going to start with just a slow pace. Here's a faster pace. Good, and here's a very fast pace.
All right, guys, so you can see there I went through 3 different paces. I put a metronome on just to make it a little easier for me. All right, our brain responds really well to different rhythms. That's why, dancing yields such a happy, positive response from most people. But the beauty here is there are definitely going to be songs and rhythms that are much faster than something we can handle, or much slower. All right, so the slower is going to require some stability, some skeletal stability. The quicker is going to require some joint neurological stability, I'm going to call it, so that I can sense myself gaining and stopping all this momentum so I can change directions. All right, so let's move on. All right, guys, so I said before I was also going to show you one where I limit the amount of information coming in, right, which is going to put a little more stress on the other systems that are still intact. So what I did here is I'm going to do the same lunge you've been watching me doing. I closed my eyes so I could not see, which means I'm going to have to rely on the little receptors in my ankles to tell me if I'm falling over. All right, so guys, try this safely.
For this variation, guys, we're going to increase the stimulus in your vestibular system. So for that, we're going to take away your visual system. So again, be very careful when you do this, but I'm going to do the same step back lunge we've been doing. I'm going to close my eyes. All right, what I usually like to do for the clients is do your first two with your eyes open, and on the third one, you're going to try to close your eyes and continue. All right, so I'm going to do my first two with my eyes open, and then I'll follow up with three with my eyes closed, okay? So again, it's just a step back lunge, come back up. These first two on each leg are my eyes open. Good, I'm going to do these next with my eyes closed, okay?
So I close my eyes for these last few ones.
All right, guys, so my eyes are closed. My last one. Okay. All right, so that is how you increase your vestibular system a little more.
All right, guys. So like I said, that was one with my eyes closed. All right, so depending on if you rely a lot on your visual system, maybe you have a lot of injuries in your ankles, that might not go so well. For me, it's a little backwards. I don't really have very good vision, so I rely a lot on the sensors in my feet and everything else. So this one didn't affect me too much. All right, that might not be the case at home, so I can't stress this enough, guys. Be super careful with some of these. All right, I'm going to show you, I believe we've got one more vestibular lunge, and then I'll go through another exercise with you guys, okay? All right, so this time what I want to do is I'm going to gain some momentum with this one. All right, so for this one, guys, I grabbed, it's about an 8-pound weight. All right, the weight is going to allow me to create some momentum. So try this.
All right, guys, for today's last variation, I went and grabbed a weight. All right, if you're trying this last tier of the exercise, you probably have already tried the other ones with the weight. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start and stop momentum with this version of the lunge. All right, so that's where the weight's going to come into play. It's going to add a little bit of momentum with this. All right, so I'm going to take you through two versions. Our first version is what we've been doing before. We're going to do a step back lunge with a little twist, come back up. All right, so the weight creates momentum on the way down. I have to stop it and swing that weight back up in the opposite direction.
Good, so I just want to pause that one, guys. So this one is kind of like a beginner one as far as creating some momentum. So you can see what I did down here is I dipped all the way down to the left. So that 8-pound weight created some momentum along with my body weight and gravity pulling me down to the left. I now had to fight my body weight, that 8 pounds, and gravity to stop and then bring this back up to right there. All right, again, I had to stop my momentum here. So I went left, stopped, brought it back up. All right, I'll play that.
Good. So now I want to show you guys another version of that where we're going to add a little momentum with the legs as well. So we're going to do our step back and rotate. This time we're going to step forward and lunge.
All right, guys, so for this one, let me pause that down here.
Then I'll show you that on the other side.
Good, so right about there, boom. Oh no. All right.
Then I'll show you that on the other side.
All right, so right here, this looks like the same exercise we just did. I dipped down to the right, my body weight, the weight and gravity created all this momentum that I now had to stop, except for this time I didn't stop it right in my chest. I took that momentum and carried into a step. All right, so now we didn't stop and change directions. We changed directions. We didn't stop because I take my side momentum here and I use it to take a step forward and twist to the opposite. So none of that energy gets lost. You learn how to kind of keep it in you and use it. All right, so watch that again. Rewind that just a little bit. Try that.
I'll show you that on the other side.
Good. So you'll see I'll dip down, come up into a full step. All right, so I take the momentum of me falling to the right and use that to propel myself forward. All right, so that would be a little more of an advanced exercise. All right, I would really want to know you have good abdominal control. You're not losing your balance during the start and stop of this before I ask you to carry that momentum into a step now. All right, so there are plenty of ways these all can be adjusted. Don't do these really without your trainer's permission. If you're watching this and you go, I don't really know if maybe Katrina would have had me doing that, please just message us. All right, we would be more than happy to make the kind of recommendation of an adjustment needed that kind of fits you a little better. These are just kind of like an outline of everything that you can be doing. All right, so those are different ways to add these things to a lunge. I'm now going to show you different ways to add them to like a med ball chop. All right, so you've probably done like a med ball chop either in your program or one of our classes. All right, so same thing we're going to do. I'll show you a traditional med ball chop. I'm going to show you how to change your point of view in a med ball chop, how to change your exerciser's pace in a med ball chop. We're going to limit our sensory input and close my eyes during a med ball chop. And last but not least, we'll increase, decrease, and change directions of your momentum in a med ball chop. All right, guys, so I hope you're still following along. We've got a couple more videos. Hang tight.
All right, so I want to show you guys the traditional version of a med ball chop. Being at home, I'm just going to use a weight. I don't have a med ball. Use what you have at home. All right, this can be done in a variety of stances. I'm going to show you guys in just a regular stance where I'm starting my weight high, chopping it down towards my waist. Good, switch sides. So you see how I'm crossing my body both directions. I pretty much am drawing an X. Good, guys, I'm not rotating through the hips right now, just the torso. All right, when we go ahead and tell you guys to do this in a split stance, here's where we're going to get a little hip rotation. All right. Good. Even go. All right, this can be done in a variety of directions. So that is just our traditional med ball chop.
All right, guys, so that's pretty basic. There's a ton of different ways to go through a med ball chop. All right, as far as the feet you're positioned or how much they have you chopping or direction, things like that. So I just wanted to go through just kind of like an overview of a basic one. All right, let's go through changing your pace.
All right. Guys, so now I want to show you how we can change your pace with the med ball chop. I'm going to make this start off slow. All right, I'm going to show you this in a split stance. Good, so I want to make it to both top and bottom at the noise. Now we'll progress this to be a little bit faster. Good, and last but not least, we'll make this a pretty fast exercise as well.
Awesome, guys. So I hope that it's starting to kind of sink in and make sense. That was just changing the pace of a med ball chop. All right, we've got those little systems in our inner ears that sense our speed. All right, let's move on. All right, guys, so here I'm going to change my point of view. This is going to be where I'm going through different head or eye movements. All right, take a peek at this. Again, be careful.
All right, so for this version of the med ball chop, we're going to change our point of view. So I'm going to split my feet up just like before. I'm going to do a few looking down, a few looking up, a few left, a few right. Those are fixed, static positions. All right, then I'm also going to do a few where just my head moves, or a few where I'm looking at a target that is moving. All right, so my first one, I'm going to look straight down. Good, no issues with my balance there. I'll look straight up. Good, that may be hard to see, but that was a little harder for me. Good, I'm going to switch legs. Good, I'm going to look right. All right, that was actually pretty challenging as the weight came across the direction I was looking at.
You guys kind of take note of how much I move. All right, take a look at that.
Good.
That one wasn't so bad.
Where my eyes are going to stay fixated on my computer screen. All right, my head is going to move, but I'm going to remain with my eyes fixated on the camera. All right, guys, it's hard to see my head.
All right, I can't stress this enough, guys. I'm sure to you that looked like I did that great, but I mentioned before how speed is going to be a factor as to whether you're feeling good or doing good with these. Did you catch the pace I did that exercise in? So if I rewind this just a little bit. All right, this is the last exercise I showed you. Oh, we didn't go far enough.
My computer screen.
This is the last exercise. See how quick I'm going through those arms?
Where my eyes are going to stay fixated.
Watch with this one.
On my computer screen. All right, my head is going to move, but I'm going to remain with my eyes fixated on the camera.
All right, and you can see I even had to stop and think about what I was going to do. This is challenging. Right, keeping my eyes looking straight ahead at my screen. This is tough. Much slower for me.
Moving what my eyes are concentrating on. Good, and I'm going to do one where my eyes move with my head. So this one, my eyes are going to kind of follow where my torso looks.
Good, and you can see I even picked up the pace with this one too.
That one, my eyes basically followed the weight I was holding on to.
All right, so I'm really glad with that one showed everything I was hoping it would. I went from doing the beginning ones very fast. I was very comfortable doing them. When I had to move my body and not my eyes, I slowed up about half speed. All right, that's fine. That's okay. I want you guys to really take that in and do these slow. All right, I'm going to move on from that, but I had to show you guys that. All right, so here we're going to do a med ball chop with momentum.
The last variation of our med ball chop is just going to be creating momentum, stopping it, starting it, changing the directions. All right, for this, you might want to put down the heavier weight. Something lighter will allow you to create a little more speed. There's going to be that happy medium because something too light, and you're not going to create as much speed as you could. Something too heavy, and the same thing will happen. You won't be able to create as much rotation. All right, so this is going to be similar to the one where we changed our pace. All right, so I'm going to get in my split stance. I'm going to start pretty slow, so I'm really not generating too much momentum. I do want to stop in each direction. All right, and then you can accelerate from down to up quicker, guys. Remember, also, you do want to stop that momentum, so I'm not swinging back and forth like I did during the pace with the metronome. I'm just kind of exploding in either direction, while stopping as we get to the end.
All right, guys, so I just want to note the pace change with that one. All right, I stopped my momentum in each direction. I didn't continue it back and forth. All right, so I was able to accelerate that weight. That's what we were looking for with that one. All right, so let's just move to one more. I put this one last, although it wasn't before. I think this is really hard to do for the med ball chop. So I would want to see you proficient at some of the other ones before you made it this far. But try these, guys. Give this one a shot. This is the last video, I promise. Thanks for watching, guys.
For this variation of the med ball chop, guys, I'm going to increase my vestibular stimulus. So I'm going to do it with my eyes closed. So I'm going to get in my split stance again, guys. My eyes are going to be closed. Good. I'm going to switch legs.
Oh, you can see I lost my balance there. So this one was tough for me. All right, so I know I mentioned before that when I did this with the lunge, I had no issue. When I closed my eyes and tried the chop, which was a little twisting, all right, so that's a little different. That was tough for me to do. I wanted you guys to see that, and I'm happy that you guys see that. So these are just different ways that we can be changing your everyday programs. All right, these are things that you can do this when you're out walking. You can do this when you're grocery shopping or cooking. These are all things you can do at home. I wanted to give you guys kind of a little insight on my brain with what you guys could be doing. So again, I just wanted to go over before, guys, that this is just an overview of basic tools to continue your function training. All right, this isn't the most important part. I'm not saying this is better than strength training or worse than strength training. I'm saying to be the best, you have to train all of them. And I don't mean be the best, I mean be the best version of you that you can be, at least at this time. All right, so we're training outside of just your traditional strength training. These are things you can do at home when you're hiking, when you're walking, when you're in the garden. All right, little differences you can make to still yield a good human response of your function. Right? Try these things on your own. Do them safe, especially the ones that you have your eyes closed or have you move in your head. I can't stress this enough, guys. If you get dizzy, if you get kind of nauseous or lightheaded or vertigo-like symptoms, stop. Shoot me an email. I kind of want to know what's going on with you. Even if you're from different locations, that's totally fine. We'll figure something out. All right. And then again, some of these are more needed than others. Everyone's different. All right. The ones that I struggled with didn't look like they were going to be the hardest. All right. Even if you go back to the seated eye exercises, I have a little issue when I do one side for those that I tried to get on camera, but it just wasn't clear. So some of these are more needed than others. You'll find you're good at some and really maybe not so proficient at the others. Practice a couple of the ones that are tough and a couple of the ones that are good or easy to do. And again, I just want to finish off by saying caution. Guys, if you are unable to do any of these adjustments or exercises in the presentation, don't quit. Practice, guys. Keep trying. If there were complications, and by that I mean you got dizzy, you got nauseous, maybe you got the room started spinning, or your eyes really started to bother you, guys, just email me or your trainer going forward. All of these can be modified to make easier. So get ready. These are coming back to the gym with all of us, guys, so it'd be good to get a little practice and have some fun. It's a gorgeous day outside, guys. If you're still watching, thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate all of you. Enjoy your day, guys.